All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us to discuss ways to automate administrative tasks so you can focus more on instructional time. My name is Lainey, and I'm the Director of Enterprise Marketing here at Jotform. If you're new to Jotform, welcome. Jotform offers a suite of no-code solutions designed to help organizations collect, share, and manage their data. It all starts with our incredibly powerful drag and drop form builder. I'm grateful to have two of my colleagues joining us today. Lauren, our Enterprise Customer Success Manager, is on hand to demonstrate how the ideas we present today show up in practice. And Griffin, my colleague in marketing, is here to monitor your questions in the chat. We've got a lot to pack into this webinar, and it's going to be recorded for your future reference. So let's go ahead and get started. Here is a quick rundown of the topics we'll be discussing today. First, we'll look at the trends in the education space. Next, we'll share some tips for streamlining paperwork and administrative tasks. Then we'll suggest strategies for managing your calendars, and we'll also highlight some tools to make collaborating easier. We're going to offer a few considerations if you're evaluating some technology solutions, and this is a show and tell webinar, so we've also got a quick demo for you. And we'll also be sharing some free resources if you want to continue your automation journey further. Lastly, we'll be sure to wrap things up with a little Q&A, so be sure to save your questions or you could type them into the chat as mentioned before. Let's go ahead and dive in. Teachers are stretched to capacity, not just because the standards for education are constantly evolving, but also because there is a global shortage of teachers. As a result, teachers are working 9 hours more per week than the average adult, but earning about $18,000 less. When compared with similar working adults, about twice as many teachers reported experiencing frequent job-related stress or burnout. The primary factor cited was taking on extra work due to these staff shortages. 84% of educators reported not having enough time during their regular work hours to do tasks like grading, lesson planning, paperwork, and answering work emails. As a result, 54% say it's very or somewhat difficult to balance their work and personal life. Many teachers are also still dealing with the impact of COVID, as students are playing catch-up on the academic and social-emotional skills they need to succeed at their grade level. Adding to these challenges is the fact that educators are swimming in technology solutions. While technology is designed to streamline and automate tasks, having disparate systems adds complexity and expense, which can negatively impact teachers and students alike. The first step to automating tasks is digitizing paper. Making the shift from paper to online forms and documents makes entering and collecting data easier. Students and families can provide the requested information from any device at their convenience. Educators benefit from cleaner data entry that's easier to read and immediately accessible. Many schools have adopted digital systems, but still follow the same processes they did with paper, which can maintain a legacy of bottlenecks. By using automated workflows and emails along with digital forms and documents, you can streamline registration, equipment rentals, housing and financial aid approvals, and more. The same technology that enables you to streamline and automate back-end administrative processes can also be used to conduct classroom pop quizzes and polls, showing results in real time to boost student engagement. Digital forms also enable you to collect 11th hour e-signatures with a QR code and securely share critical health and wellness information to support students across your school or university. Consider replacing any software you use for a single purpose or process with a more robust and flexible solution that lets you do more with less. You'll save time and money and reduce siloed forms and information. Another way to automate tasks is by taking advantage of calendar integrations with online forms. You can set up a form for scheduling appointments that's preset to your specified hours and vacation times, enabling others to schedule parent-teacher conferences, office hours, and more. You can also share calendars and meeting notes to coordinate efforts with your professional learning communities, departments, and fellow staff. Using online calendars and forms opens up communication lines by providing easier access to scheduling and booking. It's also easier to review meeting notes, requests, and schedules at a glance to get timely, automated reminders that help keep you on track. Maintaining communication and coordination with staff is critical to ensuring the best outcomes for students and to make the most of your time. Facilitating professional learning communities takes time and effort. Similarly, creating and planning lessons requires a tremendous amount of teacher time. Having systems in place to support instructional communities and share resources lightens the load for everyone. With a no-code app, you can create an online resource center that acts as a portal where staff can readily access lesson plans, training materials, frequently used forms, and more. Shared online workspaces enable teachers to share models, rubrics, and classroom notes, which makes it easier to prepare substitute teachers, adapt lectures, and incorporate new techniques. No-code apps can also be used for student and parent communities, ensuring everyone has access to critical dates and information. Leveraging online apps minimizes the need for drafting multiple emails and updates. Instead, educators and their student communities have a one-stop shop for all the important resources and information they need to thrive. Linked resources on apps can be updated as needed and in real time. So instead of having multiple versions of the same information buried in an inbox, there's a single secure source for sharing all the latest information. As mentioned earlier, many teachers are juggling a number of technology solutions. Complexity is the enemy of efficiency. Consider ways to reduce your tech stack and support automation with fewer, more robust technology solutions. Look for solutions that enable you to collect e-signatures, payments, book appointments, manage administrative processes, and above all, keep student data secure. As shown by the previous examples, many educators use Jotform Enterprise to automate both administrative and instructional tasks. Each of them has made the shift from manual, paper-based processes to streamlined and automated digital workflows. To help you see what that might look like for your institution, I'd like to invite my colleague Lauren for a quick demo of the platform. Take it away, Lauren.
Thanks, Lainey, and hi, everyone. I'm Lauren, and I'm a Jotform Enterprise Customer Success Manager. I'm so excited to be sharing this demo today to show you how some of Jotform Enterprise's features can best be utilized in the education space. Today, I'll be working in a demo enterprise server to show you how all of these helpful tools and automations look in real time. If you're already using Jotform Enterprise, these screens will likely look familiar to you. For our walkthrough today, I'll be showcasing a variety of different forms, reports, as well as a no-code app, all from our education automations team. These assets have been created by our various education automations team members, and this is all made possible by the Jotform team's functionality. Alongside our enterprise server's unique multi-user format, Jotform team simplifies the ability for your organization's members to collaborate on forms, apps, tables, signed documents, and reports. As with the other features I'll be showcasing today, Jotform Teams is a great feature to consider utilizing within your instructional staff to streamline sharing and collaboration amongst your users. I mean, it's pretty neat that although I may not have been the original creator of some of these forms, I'm a member of the education automations team, so I'm given the permissions to view, edit, and collaborate with the associated data. Speaking of neat, let's take a look at our first tool, Jotform's Smart PDF Forms. If you're not currently using Jotform Enterprise, getting started with form building may seem like a daunting task. Well, rest assured, we provide a variety of tools to make this process easier on you. The first of these tools is our Smart PDF Form Builder. With this tool, you can take a form that you're currently using as a paper or PDF and upload it directly into the Jotform Form Builder. Once uploaded, the system will pull the fields from the PDF into a web form version. Should this tool not capture all of the fields, you can also manually add them and map them directly to the PDF. I have an example here that I've already uploaded and mapped. On the left side, you can see the web form version of my student information sheet. This is what the form filler will see. On the right side, you can see my uploaded PDF. All of the fields are mapped over from the web form to my PDF. So not only does this tool save time during form building, but it also allows you to map the responses entered on the web form directly into that original PDF document. And this is what it would look like once completed, with the responses mapped onto our original document. Continuity in process is not interrupted, and the filled form looks virtually, literally, the same as before. If you're looking to build new forms and expand your use case of Jotform Enterprise into different sectors of your organization, I also highly recommend checking out our template library. With over 10,000 pre-made form templates, you're sure to find something that closely resembles the form you're intending to build. Once added to your system, you'll have free reign of the robust form builder to make any necessary edits and modifications to the form fields, and to change the look and feel of the form to make it custom to your organization. Speaking of our robust form builder, let's head over there now and look at some helpful elements and widgets we can add to our forms to assist in streamlining our process. All forms built inside Jotform are made up of elements. Elements, simplified, are where information is entered by the respondent on the form. In this example we have up here, I'm a professor planning to hold office hours for my students to be able to select a time slot and receive one-on-one assistance in an area they may need additional help with. This process is made simple using our appointment element. In the appointment element, I can start off by setting the time I intend to spend with the student in my office. I can also select what days I'm actually available and even set times that are designated as my lunch, as to not overbook myself. Over here in our limits tab, I can establish the date range that a student can schedule. I can add any vacation time and holiday time directly to this calendar so that a student is only choosing a time that I will actually be in my office. And I can also set a limit for how many slots can be filled per day, as well as designate the minimum notice I need from a student before their office hours meeting. That's not all this helpful tool can do. I can also hop over to my advanced tab and clarify whether these meetings are meant to be one-on-one or for a group. In these current settings, once a student has selected a slot, it will not be available for any students to select. This will happen automatically, easing my mind that two students will not accidentally be booked in the same time. Additionally, another helpful automation associated with the appointment element is the ability to send out a reminder email ahead of their scheduled time. I can designate when exactly it will send before the beginning of their time slot, as well as customize what is included in that reminder email. This can be especially useful if there are specific instructions on accessing my office or other information they need to keep in mind as I, the professor, and my student prepare for our session. Additionally, this element can be used in conjunction with an existing calendar tool you may already be using. When appointments are selected from the element on my form, I can configure an integration between Jotform Enterprise and my own calendar tool, whether that be Google Calendar, Calendly, Zoom, or even an Office 365 calendar via Microsoft Power Automate. Having this established connection will ensure that even if I'm not checking Jotform every moment, the data will flow right to my calendar on all of my other devices automatically. Now let's take a look at some form widgets that you can add to really take your efficiency both in and out of the classroom to the next level. Despite our previous example, I'm not actually a teacher myself, but through my time at Jotform Enterprise, I've met up with a plethora of different education professionals, and a common theme that comes up for in-classroom form use is how you can utilize Jotform's features to automatically calculate a score. Well, great news. You absolutely can do this by using a variety of our selection elements alongside our form calculation widget. And I'll show you how that's done using this quiz example. First on our quiz, we need to set up the questions. This quiz was built using the single choice element. However, the same setup can also apply if I wanted to use the multiple choice for the selection of more than one answer, or a dropdown. When I've established my possible answers for the question, I can come down here and also establish calculation values. Incorrect responses will have a value of 0, while the correct response will have a value of 1, all of which will be funneled and calculated into the student's final score. At the bottom of my quiz, we can see here that I have a hidden field labeled as total. This is our form calculation widget and will work behind the scenes to calculate the student's score. In my overall equation, I'm adding each of the questions on my quiz to get the value for their score. Do all of the work for me of checking each response and granting points when the correct response is selected. Then it will show me the total for the entire quiz. This total can be sent in an email to the student, as well as live within my submission table, which we'll circle back to later, taking time off my plate to need to grade each individual quiz against an answer key. This will allow me to spend more time with my students identifying areas of opportunity in both my own lesson planning and their own knowledge and retention. As we know, though, school is not just in classroom work. It can also take us on the road, specifically a field trip. Let's take a look at another form and a less traditional use of a widget as we continue our tour through Jotform's features. Here on our field trip registration form, we have the ability for a parent to easily select a bus and departure time for their child, while also displaying how many seats are left for each selection. Right beneath that, you have the ability for the parent in one fell swoop to also volunteer to contribute different food items for the student's lunch on the field trip. When they go through this list, they can see how many of each item is needed to aid in their selection. Seems straightforward, right? Well, what if I told you that these two widgets are actually labeled as widgets for gift registries for things like baby or wedding showers? Something that is entirely different than the way in which they're being used on this field trip form. One of my favorite parts about Jotform Enterprise, and specifically our widget list, is how versatile it is for a variety of different use cases. In our example, utilizing these gift registry widgets will allow us to fill limited spaces on a bus and keep track of parent contribution for food, while someone else may find the use of this exact same mechanism to ask for a blender or a new bath towel set. In these widgets, I can specify how many seats are available on the bus, and as my submissions roll in, the amount of seats available will automatically update to reflect the true space available on each bus. Similarly, my food volunteer list will show what items are already spoken for and what still needs to be contributed by my classroom's families. After this session, I encourage you to check out our list of widgets and see if there are any others that may be labeled in one way but are able to be used in another. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you find. Collecting data on the form elements and widgets are only half the story. There's also some settings on the form I'd like to chat about that you can employ to make your forms work for you even further. Let's hop over to the form settings now. Here in our form settings list, we can see a variety of different options that can alter the way the respondent interacts with the form, as well as the way the form interacts with the respondent. Let's take a look at some of those, starting with the ability to automatically add additional languages to the form. On a student registration form, like the one I'm using in our example now, my language, English, may not be everyone's first or even primary language. With Jotform's language settings, you can add as many languages as you need. And when an additional language is added to the form from the settings menu, a majority of the fields will automatically translate, but there may be some that need to be manually added. You can also adjust any of these translations to ensure clarity for your respondents if they're going to be accessing your form in a language other than the primary language of the form. Once the languages are added, the respondent will have the ability to update the language they'd like to access the form in using the dropdown up here in the top right-hand corner. The information will be returned to me with the prompt labels in my language, English, but having that flexibility available for my respondents to pick another language will allow me to get more submissions overall, as well as more correct and complete submissions to be able to process these registrations. Additionally, in the settings menu, I can set a deadline for which the registration needs to be submitted by using the form status option to disable on a certain date. This automation can ease my stress of remembering to manually go in and turn off the form at the due date and time. And this will take care of that for me. Additionally, I can configure my form so it will only allow one submission per student using the unique submission settings. Another feature unique to Jotform Enterprise is the ability to have single sign-on for your server. This will apply to the licensed server users who will log into the system with their organization credentials, but it can also be used on forms. When SSO is enabled on forms, staff members, or even students in some cases, will be asked to authenticate using their organization credentials when accessing the form. You can require this to ensure only members of your organization are accessing the form, and you can also utilize this as a pre-fill. You can match fields from the respondent's directory listing to the fields on the form, saving them time and ensuring accuracy of entered communication information such as name, email address, and phone number. Finally, another setting I may choose to utilize is to allow my respondent to save a draft of their work and continue it at a later time. On especially lengthy forms, this setting can really come in handy, making it simple for my respondents to save their previously entered information. Once they click save on the form at any point, they will receive a link to their draft, which they can re-access within 60 days of saving their work to complete their form. The inclusion of this automation gives incredible flexibility to my respondents to fill out the form within their own availability instead of needing to set aside dedicated time in their busy schedules to fill out a long and detailed form. Speaking of lengthy forms, we always want to be sure that we're collecting only information that is needed from the particular respondent and not bogging them down to fill in information that does not apply to them or that we don't need as a part of their, in this case, student registration. That brings us to another super helpful tool that lives right here inside our settings menu, conditional logic. Conditional logic, when utilized, can create a custom experience for each person filling it out. The conditions are written as if-then statements. As we can see here, I'm using the show hide field condition to only show certain follow-up fields when a respondent has selected yes for switching courses or for scholarship information. Similarly, I can hide fields that are not needed when the MS in Physics program is selected as the degree. Showing and hiding fields is just the start, though. I can also pass data through various fields on my forms using the update calculate condition, or I can make specific fields in certain scenarios required using the enable require mask condition. If my form is multiple pages, I can hide entire pages from the respondent if the information does not apply to them, or have them skip to different pages on my form based on the data they've entered. That would be using the skip to hide page condition. I can also show a custom thank you message or redirect to a URL conditionally upon submission of the form using the change thank you page condition. And finally, I can direct automated emails sent at the time of submission to the correct inboxes of the correct people using the change email recipient condition. Overall, conditions are a great way to ensure that the data collected is what is specifically needed from my respondent, and also to make the form more user-friendly overall. Additionally, and especially in that last condition about directing emails to the correct people involved, I can pull in different people for my organization to be notified. Another way I can choose to accomplish this is via an approval flow. So let's take a look at that now. In the example form I'm using here, I'm gathering interest from students for the different communities they may want to be involved in. This is broken down into humanities, business sciences, business leadership, sciences, as well as the honors college. For the first three, it follows a simple process after submission where the secretary receives it, they review it, push it to the dean, and the dean signs off before they're considered a member of that academic community. However, our honors college process is a bit more complicated. By default, as we saw with our other options, an approval step will give the secretary the option to approve or deny a submission. However, when setting up a flow, approve and deny may not make the most sense to your organization or resonate entirely with your process. In a flow, you can add or modify the existing outcomes to best match the task at hand. For the Honors College example, it's a more extensive review process which will give the secretary and dean the power to reach back out to the student for more information, save the student's file for consideration in the next school year, or carry it through the rest of the flow. Having the ability to specify these options for the reviewers or approvers makes sure that everyone is on the same page given the task at hand and can action the student's submission correctly and in a timely fashion to move them through the process. Speaking of a timely manner, clicking over here in our Advanced tab on the Approval step will show additional automation options you can choose to include in your flow. These options will include the ability to set a time limit on the task so that if met, the task can expire, meaning the student would need to start a new form. The task could be automatically completed and moved to the next step. It could be automatically reassigned or escalated to another team member in that department as well. These automation features can really help ensure that the students are hearing back on their honors college interest in a timely manner. Additionally, if those time-based automations aren't quite meeting your need, you can also opt to send scheduled reminder emails to the current assignee of the step to remind them to hurry up and review that student's information. An approval flow isn't only made up of team members actually reviewing a submission and making a decision on it, but could also be used to automatically send additional forms or even a signed document for the collection of a legally binding e-signature by the relevant party. In my honors college example, once the dean has approved, the student will receive a welcome email, as well as be assigned the honors college agreement for their signature. This will ensure that every newly admitted student to the honors college community receives this document and collects their signature. As an admin user in Jotform Enterprise, I can also keep track of all of these sent documents via the sign inbox, as well as be notified once it has been signed and completed by the student. All of what I've shared so far has been a discussion of what happens when the form is actually being filled out. But what about getting my form into the hands of my respondents? Let's move on to our options to share the form to chat about some ways we can garner a wider reach of our form using tools from inside Jotform itself. Forms can be shared in a variety of ways. I can provide a direct hyperlink to my form on a website or in an email, but those may easily be missed by my respondents. Down here, though, I have other options to get my form out there and gather the responses I desire. Using Jotform tools, I can share my form directly to my organization's social media accounts in a post, allowing people to access and fill my form while they're simply just scrolling through their social media feeds. Additionally, I can generate a QR code to open my form directly on a mobile device. This can be printed and available around campus for ease of student access. This is especially useful for interest forms like this one, but could also be used in the classroom for the student to access for feedback, polling, or the collection of other quick and needed information. Using that scannable QR code combined with Jotform's awesome scaling capabilities, forms can be accessed from any mobile device and do not require the filler to zoom in or zoom out, strain their eyes, or stress themselves out just to fill out a form. Don't lie, we've all been there. To simplify this process even more, you can also opt to embed the form on your organization's website or even internal portal. Embedding your forms onto your website can garner a wider reach if people are perusing your website. This is especially helpful for things like contact us forms, collecting feedback, as just another example. However, to pull one of Lainey's examples, this may also be especially useful for collecting education professionals' job applications. With hiring already an area of stress amongst many levels of education institutions, simplifying the application process via embedding your application onto your website may help collect more data on potential applicants. So now we've built our form, we've added additional settings to make it as user-friendly as possible. We've shared it on our social media, generated a QR code, and or embedded it on our website. Our respondents have now filled out the form and provided exactly what we needed, data and information. But where does that data go? Where does it live inside Jotform specifically? Well, submission data in Jotform lives in a few places in the system. Let's start by taking a look at our PDF editor. On this form, I'm collecting information on the students in my classroom, including their name, birthday, a photo of them, their favorite subjects in school, their favorite animal and color, as well as a quick ask of what they're most excited about for this school year. The PDF editor will take all of the responses and list them in the standard PDF format, displaying each of the questions, their answer, and displaying the uploaded file. This can be downloaded, included as an attachment in the email. It can also be sent to external filing services through our various integrations, or simply kept as a repository inside Jotform. However, for our example today, I can show you how to make this student biography a bit cuter. As you can see on this version of the PDF, all of the information is still included. It's just in a more visually appealing format. I can now take these documents from my students, download them, keep it as a book, add it to a sub binder, send home a copy of this to each of the parents at the start of the school year to get to know all of their child's classmates as well. Once I've created this template, any submission will generate on this PDF version automatically, meaning that if I have a new student in the middle of the year, I can have their page sent out to parents or seamlessly add it to my sub binder as needed, and it will fit right in. The next place submission data is kept that I'll be showing today is our submission table. Continuing on my student biography sheet, I can see the same data that was just displayed on my PDF as a table. Each column is associated with a different question being asked on the form. I have the ability to modify what columns are shown using this columns dropdown right here. To have full preparedness for my substitutes, I could uncheck all of the columns apart from the student's name and photo. Once I've done that, I could export the document as a spreadsheet and print it to be included in the subbinder for their use for attendance or individual student notes to report. To call back to my field trip example earlier, printing out the registration forms table in this way could also serve as a sign-in sheet or an attendance sheet for the field trip organizers and chaperones. Speaking of customizing the look of the table, you can also add multiple tabs to the table for different views of the same data. Here, I've used a filter on my original data set. I wanted a list of only students that checked off that they're interested in music, so I can send their information to our band instructor to reach out about their instrumental desire and ability. I can also have another tab that will show the same data, but in a card format, showing the student's picture and a quick view of all that submission information that was added to their form. Another view I can opt to include is the calendar view, which I can easily reference for my students' birthdays to never miss a celebration. Finally, I can also use a sub-tool of the submission table as a tab, and that's the visual reporting tool. This report will display an overall summary of the students' responses to each of the questions as a chart. This can be presented as a slide deck, embedded on a portal, exported and downloaded as a PDF. In the system, a visual report will update as new submissions are received, so I can rest easy knowing that all of my included information is the most up to date. This tool can be used in a multitude of ways and in conjunction with other tools I've mentioned today as well. In a large lecture hall of students in a university, for example, maybe I want to poll my class. I could display one of those generated QR codes to a poll form on a projector and allow students to scan the form and enter their responses on a mobile device. In real time, I can display the visual report to show results from the classroom poll in a visually appealing and easy to understand format. I didn't have to build the document, print enough copies of the document, pass out, then collect the document once it was completed by the students, and then spend all of that time tallying each of the response options. The Jotform Enterprise Visual Report Builder does that all for me. One other place you can display this report is in a Jotform no-code app. Let's round out our session today by heading over to an example of a no-code app built from our tool to see exactly what that looks like. And we'll pop over to the team and our school parent app. If you're unfamiliar with what no-code apps are, they are essentially an easy way to share documents, forms, links, and a plethora of other information all in one place. Apps can be easily added to your form's home screen, added to your phones, and can serve as a quick way for the end user to access what they need. In our example here, we have an app for parents to learn more about their child's classroom, learn about the school, easily contact the teacher, and directly link out to different needed forms. Additionally, we have a link right here to that report we just took a look at as well. Let's see what this may look like on a mobile device. This is what my end user will see once they have added this app to their mobile device. I can also continue to customize my app by changing the name of it as it appears on their home screens, as well as the icon, so they know exactly what this app is for. And then they can utilize it at their convenience whenever and wherever they may be. Having an app for parents is just one example of how our no-code apps can be used in the education space. You can also create apps for just about anything. For example, you can have one for internal staff resources. All of your education professionals can add this app to their devices and easily access forms they may need or contact administrative department with just the click of a button. If you're not sure where to start, the template library I have up on our screen can help give you some ideas. We have over 600 ready-to-use app templates for you to play around with. These options feel quite literally endless, and I definitely recommend trying out a no-code app in your organization today. One last thing I'd like to mention, if you're still on the fence about utilizing Jotform Enterprise in your organization, is that security is our top priority. You can opt for HIPAA and its subsequent SOC 2 compliance when dealing with potential student health data. But I also do want to call out our FERPA compliance, especially as it relates directly to the education professionals here with us. Our system adheres to FERPA's regulations for the protection of student information. With our already robust security compliance program by default that encrypts the data from end to end, your staff and student data is safe within Jotform Enterprise. Now, I know that was a lot of information, and this is only just a small sample of all of the dynamic and helpful features that Jotform Enterprise provides. If anything caught your eye, or if you'd like to take a deeper in-depth dive at how Jotform Enterprise may look for your specific use case, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. Thank you for your time today, and back to you, Lainey.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Lauren. I really appreciate it. Let me just get us back to our slides here. All right. Well, we have a number of resources available to you if you'd like to learn anything more about what we've shared here today. Lauren covered so much. So thank you again, Lauren, for that. It was really, really great overview of the platform. But as she mentioned, the possibilities are truly endless. There are a number of ways you can use it. So to get some ideas of how people in the education space are using it, I strongly recommend that you check out our case studies. There's a list of the educational institutions here on the slide, but we have a variety of case studies with nonprofits, healthcare companies, government institutions, and more that you can check out. So if you also work with folks tied to your education institution, or you need to make sure that what you're using is compliant for them, you can definitely check out those case studies. If you're interested in looking at more technology best practices or trends in technology, we have a number of white papers also available for download, and you can locate those under the resources section of our website. And then if you like to learn by doing, as Lauren mentioned, we have over 10,000 free online form templates, app templates, just a number of different ways for you to dig in and just see what exactly it might be able to do for you. And then finally, you'll be able to refer back to this webinar recording on our YouTube channel. So be sure to like and subscribe and check it out, and you'll get notified of all new live sessions. There's also a ton of informational videos there, lots of different things for you to engage with so that you can learn more about what this platform can do for you, how you can automate more things and spend more time on your classroom learning. Okay, at this time, I want to just check in with Griffin and see if we have any questions from the chat.
Yeah, we'll start off with one here. Are you able to create a form that has multiple PDF signatures and registration information all in one form, or is there a way to have one form direct user to the next form?
I can take that one. Yeah, there's a ton of different ways that you can have multiple signatures collected on a single form. So the first was one that I actually showed in our demo today, and that's the approval flow in which other forms can be assigned. So it can automatically direct to the second form, assigning it to a user or a form filler to fill out, collect signatures. You can also use Jotform sign to collect multiple signatures on a single document. Also, in the approval flow, one of the elements available is approve and sign, which can collect the signature of that reviewer to pass it on to the next step. So there are a ton of different options that you have to collect multiple signatures on a single form.
Cool. Next question here. Can Jotform be used offline when no internet service is available?
I can also take that one. And yes, one of the awesome features of our Jotform mobile app is that you can set forms to be available offline so that the person filling it out does not need a cellular or Wi-Fi connection to actually complete the form. When you're setting that up, you'll also need to do this through the Jotform Enterprise mobile app. You'll need to just go into your server, select the form, switch the little toggle to offline. Then anyone accessing the form from their own mobile app will be available to, see that form, fill it out, submit it. And then once that the device is reconnected to Wi-Fi or cellular data connection, it will sync back to the table. The approval flow will begin. Any PDFs will be generated. Any emails will be sent out. So it's just a really great way to kind of just make those forms more flexible, available offline, super streamlined and easy.
Cool. And looking at the YouTube and the Zoom chat, I think that is all we have for now.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Griffin. All right, wanted to thank everyone for joining us again today. That concludes our session. We hope you found some inspiration today. And if you have lingering questions, as mentioned, please reach out. You can contact the Jotform Enterprise sales team. If you have an existing customer success manager or rep, be sure to reach out to them as well. And there's also ways to contact us on our website. So if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to chat with you.